Hey guys, David Vos. Oh buddy, is it raining here in Alabama? And it's cool, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Oh buddy, I am completely flabbergasted and discombobulated this morning over some crazy poo-poo. I guess is a better way to put it. Some people use the word shite, but it's coming at you from all directions now. It's really kind of hard to ignore it. And yeah, even if you got your eyes on Jesus, it isn't always pleasant. You know, the ride is not pleasant, this highway to heaven, but it is necessary, of course. But you know, it's unexpected because I really didn't expect the stupidity I would see on this ride. You know, when I was a little kid, I knew things weren't exactly right. There's a lot of weird stuff I saw happening, but I wasn't quite prepared for what I'm seeing now in the world because it really is going whang over the Richter scale to a level that I haven't seen before. But, you know, there's a guy that people talk about. He was kind of big on the internet for a while. I don't know if he still is. And I didn't really watch his videos. I don't think I ever watched any of them, but I'd heard a lot of people who watch my channel were telling me about this guy. Somebody from Boston. I don't remember his name, but I want to show you something that he just posted. Somebody sent it to me. And I gotta say, this Richie from Boston guy, man, I love you, brother. I really do. And he and I agree, from what I can see in this video, that things are getting pretty bad, and we're going to have to start getting out of this, preparing to get out. But at the same time, I'm a little concerned that maybe you're being overcome by the delusion and the lies, my brother. And I'm not even doing this video for you. Maybe somebody will show you this video, and I love you, brother. Look, we all, have differences of opinion, and, I'm not trying to, cut you down or anything, because I think you're a great guy, but I'm just saying, we got to be careful we don't go down these wild goose chases that just aren't true. We can't be deceived. Not now. We ain't got time for that now. But let me show you what this guy says.
I don't know how many times I was driving along. I could see the Rocky Mountains. I'm looking at the weather. The temperature outside is 65 degrees, and yet the sun coming through my window is so hot I have to put the air conditioner on. That never made any sense to me. It was like there was a spotlight on me. Well, it turns out I wasn't wrong. There's a YouTuber called JWTV. Again, this was an email link that I got, someone sent to me. And he's making videos on the fake sun. He also makes a lot of videos about the moon and people landing on the moon. He still isn't quite there, but he's getting there. You see what I'm saying? But listen to this.
Many people just have the question, and I wanted to answer it. How do you know the difference between the real sun and the fake sun? First of all, in some Russian documents let out by the military unit, they talk about how the sun literally went through a phase of explosion long before any of us was alive. So what happened to the real sun?
Now, if that wasn't the craziest thing you've ever heard in your life, well, I'm getting something in my ear. My producer's saying, no, that's not the craziest thing you've ever heard in your life. What's even crazier is that there are millions of people believing it now. Okay? But let me show you something I believe even crazier, because what some guy does, from Boston, or some young kid down in his basement, what they believe is really not that shocking, except that so many people believe it. But this is what's even more shocking. This is in the Insider, and it says, y'all put me in this cage. 82-year-old Alabama grandmother said she was told by police officers not to cry after they arrested her for not paying her trash bill. Yeah. This sickens me to my soul. I did a video yesterday, guys, about how you got to believe and everything's wonderful and we should just all smile and just accept the fact that we're all happy, and even though we're not. No, you see, that's what some of you probably saw if you watched that. What I really was saying, well, it took me an hour to say it. I'm not going to be able to say it all over again here. But I just want to say that, yeah, I don't always feel good. I'm upset right now. I'm angry. Jesus got angry. That, if you guys are not having a good day, don't worry about that. Because the one thing you have to know is you got to know and believe that there is a good world. There is a happy, eternal world that we're going to be in. And it's coming very soon. Because the world has gotten to a place where it's so built up of evil and there's so much garbage going on, it's collapsing. The lies are enfolding and collapsing within themselves, and the whole thing's going to implode because of all the lies and the evil. And no, it's not going to be happy to see people suffering from their ignorance. And we're suffering from our own ignorance. We know that, look, we're just like rats in a cage that keep shoving the pizza in and the vodka and whatever. And we just keep doing it. And we wonder, why do I have this headache? Well, because you ate too much. You're overweight. Why are you sick? Because you didn't live life properly. So it is our choice. But I digress. I will now direct your attention to the stupidest scam, idiotic, I don't know what to call it. The most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in the entire world. And you know what? I don't even know if that is the most ridiculous thing in the entire world. We just went through 2 years of some of the most ridiculous. I mean, and not that they were doing it. That's ridiculous enough. But that the entire world went along with it. And really nobody did anything about it. Well, I understand the only people we're seeing is the people on the news, and they're all pretending to go along with it. Not us people, right? Yeah, but the people, they mumble about, well, I don't understand. I think it's a HOAX, but I don't understand. But that's it. We did nothing. Right? We still went into our homes and got our phone and scrolled down through Facebook every day, posting pictures of our beautiful little booty. And somehow in our mind thinking that was all that was important. We have no friends. We're sadder than sad and madder than mad. And look at this.
Now, a price cap on Russian oil has come into force today as the G7 group of Western countries attempts to increase the pressure on Vladimir Putin further. Joining me now to discuss the situation, retired Air Vice Marshal Sean Bell. Sean, let's talk about that point first of all. Just how much pressure is this price cap going to put on the Kremlin, do you think?
Yeah, good afternoon, SJ. Let's be clear, this only applies to Russian oil that's being sold for less than $60 a barrel. Only that can be carried by the G7 allies or insured by the G7 ally or its allies. The plan is to make it very difficult for Russia to sell its oil at anything more than $60 a barrel. Sounds great. The trouble is Russia is the second largest producer of oil in the world next to Saudi Arabia. Whilst the West has definitely reduced its reliance on Russian oil, the spare capacity has been lapped up by China and India along the way. President Zelensky has described this as a really weak position for the G7 to take. And actually, we've seen the oil price go up overnight as a result.
Well, so I don't know what is the stupidest that they did this, right? It's like, the old saying, they shot themselves in the foot. They shot their own self in the foot, right? But this isn't just a skit on television. This isn't a storybook line. This isn't even World War II. We got through that with many people dying, but the world went on. This isn't Mao. This isn't Stalin. This is not anything like that. This is the culmination. This is the real deal. This is not the prelude. This is not the World Fair showing us what we're gonna do. I mean, we saw the World Fairs and they showed all this technology and they were telling us, yay, we're gonna have technology. But this is different. what they're telling us, what Klaus Schwab and Billy the Gatekeeper and these guys are telling us straight to our face, is your life is over. But in order to keep, they've trained us like little rats. They've trained us that they have to tell us flat out what they're doing. Because, after the war, after it's all over, they're going to show their people the history. And it will be presented that, well, the whole world went along with it. We told them. See this clip here where we told them? See what Billy the Gatekeeper said on that stage at TED, a TED convention? Look at this interview with Klaus Schwab. Look at how they announced it from the platform. Look at you guys voted for Trump. He's the one that started the warp speed. He's the one who introduced AI. He's the one who put together the Abrahamic Accords and the one world government. You voted for it. So, you see, that's how they're going to play it out. But at the same time, there are layers of indoctrination and propaganda. So you've got all that playing in the background. But you can hardly pay attention to what they're actually telling you because in the foreground is all the entertainment. These people that think the world is all oh man, they believe anything. It's all conspiracies. Like everybody's dying. It ain't true. People that think that Trump's a bad guy. Don't you know that the only people that think that Trump's a bad guy are his brothers, the Bavarians, that they're playing the skit? It's a drama. He's in the movie and he's the bad guy. And the little short Zelensky guy and the little short Putin, they're both Vladimirs. They're both actors. They're all Bavarians. They're playing, well, they get different parts. I mean, one's the good guy. And, I guess Zelensky's a good guy. I don't know. I don't think any of these are the good guys. They've trained us not to worry about anybody being actually good. As long as somebody says something that may sound good, then he's the good guy. So Trump's the good guy right now. But what they're showing you in the foreground, the background, they're telling you everything you're going to do. But in the foreground, they're saying, oh yeah, we're having a war. Oh, this terrible thing, right? And we're going to try and starve out the Russians. We got them where they don't want to be. We're winning, but all of our oil is gone. We don't produce oil anymore. But it's Putin's fault that we don't have any oil. Well, look, I could probably explain that a little better and go more in depth. I think probably all of you who watch my videos know what I'm going to say here before I even say it. We don't even need to say it anymore. We get it. They're shooting us in the foot. No, they're not shooting us in the foot. That wouldn't be so bad. We'd get a crutch and we'd survive. What they're doing is they're taking us out. Do you understand? It's going to be shocking when you wake up one morning and you look outside and it's really quiet because nobody's driving cars. And you turn on the television that may or may not even work. Maybe they'll keep that on so they can televise the whole thing. I think the whole thing will be televised. There won't be any food in the grocery markets. And they'll be telling everybody they all got to get in a line and go down to the FEMA camp. And I'm not going to try and imagine what happens next. But, at some point, a lot of the people that you see, your neighbors, your brothers, and everybody, they won't be here anymore. If you survive, you're going to be here all alone. Some of you, if you don't know Jesus, if you don't know what's really going on, you ain't got no oil in your lamp, you're going to be really scared. Well, at that point, you probably should be very happy that you're still here. Because that must mean that you didn't fall for all the little tricks. Because the ones who fell for it all are gone. I can't say any more clearly because they take this channel down. But because you don't really know what's going on, you're going to be scared. Unless, of course, you know. And you've known it all along. And you're starting to realize what's really going on here. That's why I want to present this to you. Not to complain. Not to be clickbait. Not to be, negative. I'm showing you this information because this is really good news, actually. Yeah, it's going to be a little tough. It ain't going to be easy to watch people that we love pass away. It's not going to be easy, crouched under your archway in the bathroom or down in the basement trying to protect you and your loved ones from the fallout of whatever's going to come. That is not going to be easy. But when you realize that this entire thing, if you know that this entire thing is not some real occurrence, but it's choreographed, and that wouldn't probably give you any reassurance by itself, except that you read it in the Bible that this was going to happen, that the whole world lies in the power of the wicked one, and that he comes, he has a short time. It's only going to be a short time. Jesus assured us, when you see these things, know that it is near at the doors. Endure unto the end, and you will be saved. Not one hair of your head will be harmed. But believe me, don't follow after them when they say, oh, here is a Christ, or there is a Christ, or hey, come get the mark of the beast and get in line to the FEMA camp. You didn't do it because you remembered the words of the Lord. The Holy Spirit will bring back to your mind the things that he told us. And there will be those who will be preaching the gospel. And they'll be bringing fire down out of the sky, but not the same kind of fire these other guys are going to be bringing. The false prophet's going to bring down real fire, violence, missiles. I don't know, blue beam, holograms, maybe, hoaxes, maybe, but probably a lot of real fire too. But we are going to be preaching the gospel, and all the inhabitants of earth for witness to all the nations, and then the end will come. So we will know when this begins that it's near at the doors. Don't you worry. He gave us the actual number of days. It will be a 1,000. He rose his right hand and he swore, it shall be a times and a half a time, or 1,260 days, and then the end will come. And what's even more encouraging is that Jesus said, unless those days had been cut short, no flesh would have been saved. But because on account of the chosen ones, those days were cut short. Now, I don't know exactly what that means, but I do know this. I know this with my heart, and I'm telling you my testimony. The worse things get, the happier I'm going to be. Because I know that the Lord is going to protect us. Thousands will fall on our left and 10,000s on our right, but it will not come nigh unto us. He will lift us up with the wings of eagles. We will not have to worry about what to say in that hour because he'll give us the words to speak in that hour. He will be with us. Where there will be 2 or 3 gathered together in his name, I will be there. What do you think he means, I will be there? He's not talking about all of history, we're supposed to be 2 or 3 only gathering, and when we do that exactly the way he says, 2 or 3, he's going to come down and manifest himself. Maybe we could take it that way, and that's true symbolically and esoterically, but this is also a literal prophecy for us. We must gather together as you see the day drawing near. Why? To encourage one another, to help and build one another up, and telling each other the truth. We're going to be brought together in love, and he's going to be there. And then this time of trouble that these idiots think they're bringing to destroy us is going to sort of flip. And they're not going to realize, they're like, what in the world's going on? The Bible says that it's going to happen, this tribulation, upon the rich and the poor, upon the great and the small, upon all the kings of the earth and the merchants and all the great men and the strong ones, the military. Everybody's going to feel it, and they're going to be scared out of their mind, but not you and I, because we know the truth. But now let me show you what they got. If all that's not bad enough, and it certainly is, let me show you what we're going to be going through in the very near future, what they got planned for us now. Watch this.
Among the stories we're going to cover tonight, let me get on the old spectacles because we got a busy show. We're going to talk about these new lockdowns coming. They've already rolled out in a number of different cities around the world, but the new test bed program for the new I've been telling you this, guys. I've been telling you this was coming. Hand to the heavens, how many times have I mentioned? Get ready for climate lockdowns. It was already written out in the World Economic Forum's literature. This is their plan. They've already rolled it out in a couple of other cities, and it's coming now. We're going to tell you where and how it's going to unfold. They're giving us the exact details of it, and this was voted on. And if you live in these areas, get ready. You're not going to be able to drive your cars. You'll be fined if you leave this zone for more than the designated number of times that you're allowed to leave these zones. This is amazing. So we'll talk about that on the show. We're also going to talk about the Dutch farmers, which is another big part of the World Economic Forum, for crying out loud, taking away farms because they don't want you to eat meat. They want to consolidate this land, and they want to create more city centers. And so 3,000 farms being seized as we speak in the Netherlands.
So, yeah, this is just that redacted guy. You can't trust him, right? I mean, he's so bad they had to kick him off of the mainstream. I mean, they're always shutting him down. So I guess it's not just happening to me. But anyway, so you can't really trust this guy, right? Some conspiracy wacko like Alex Jones, right? Actually, Alex Jones is telling a lot of truth. But let me show you. This is The Hill. And it says, coming soon. Climate lockdowns, ? In other words, yeah, you're the news and you're the one saying it. So don't be asking us whether it's going to happen. But it says the past 2 years have been a checklist for the worst impulses of government. See, they even admit it. They're doing bad things. Oh, we've been doing some very bad things. But don't you worry, we're going to do some worse things here pretty quick. But it's been a checklist for the worst impulses of government and public sentiment. That thingy allowed for supposedly temporary measures to morph into 2 years of emergency restrictions. But what if that thingy was only the opening act? The mainstream media is telling you this? They're putting it to us like that? Like, hey guys, what if? Huh? Like, is this some sort of I mean, why would the mainstream media be even wasting their time on it if this isn't actually going to happen? All right, of course it's going to happen, but I'm just perplexed by the way that they're laying it on us. Like, they're not afraid to tell us straight up, but they're like, well, hey, it wasn't my idea. I'm just writing this article, right? I'm just being told to do this. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Hello? And maybe, hopefully this guy's writing it in such a way that it's supposed to wake somebody up, but the reality is nobody's going to care. I don't know. But it says in another proclaimed crisis is the main event, ? Implementing significant but partial restrictions one by one in the name of the common good can allow for an encompassing government control that results in relatively little backlash. Fear over climate change could lead to long-term soft lockdowns, given the predicament of immense growth of government power and significant support for sweeping state actions. This isn't a right-wing fever dream. Calls for harsh government measures in the name of saving the environment are already in the parlance of influential organizations and figures. In November of 2020, the Red Cross proclaimed that climate change is a bigger threat than, that thingy, and should be confronted with the same urgency. And Bill Gates recently demanded dramatic measures to prevent climate change. We're going to prevent climate change by dramatic. What does this mean, dramatic measures? We all got to start recycling? No, we all got to die. I mean, it's dramatic, but we got to do it, for Mother Earth. So claiming it will be worse than the pandemic, despite millions of people having, died from that. I don't know about that, but anyway, former governor of the Bank of England, Mark Carney, Like a carnivore? Is he going to eat us? Last year predicted that climate death will dwarf those of the pandemic lockdowns, which significantly reduced carbon emissions during 2020, could be the solutions. That's the solution. Everybody goes down in their basement, opens a window, and jumps out. After all, the EU's climate service gloated the first thingy lockdown may have saved 800 lives. Yeah, but you just said it killed millions. Whatever. What would climate lockdowns look like? I mean, first of all, what is it we're worried about? Climate? If we all go down in our basements, maybe it won't get so hot this summer? Or there won't be any floods or earthquakes? I don't even know what the heck they're talking about. I don't think they ever explain it. I don't think nobody knows. It's just that do what you're told, Ein Führer. Cities and states would begin a gradual and discreet ramp-up of restrictions during the early days of the thingy. Millions of Americans worked from home. This could become the permanent norm if special carbon taxes are put in place. Such taxes could be imposed on companies, limiting driving or air miles, or extend to individual employees. Drive to work in a car? You could get a hit with a tax. Children could be impacted by climate lockdowns too. Schools, especially those heavily influenced by teacher unions, could impose permanent online-only days. Well, I guess that means that there's not much, we're not going to have any education anymore. Remember how I used to say education was everything? Oh, I'm going to make sure we got lots of education. More taxes for the schools. We got to build more schools. We got to make sure they all get to school. Well, now they're like, well, we got to make sure they don't go to school. Is this kind of insane? Yeah. So, they could impose permanent online-only days. Delhi, India is already using a version of this concept to crack down on smog pollution. At the same time, I see. So they're going to claim there's too much smog. So maybe this will only be in the big cities. Well, like I said, guys, get out of the cities, for one. But I don't think it's just going to be the cities. I mean, as the guy said earlier, they're getting rid of all the farms, too. So, I mean, unless you can live out in the field without any income from a farm, you're going to have to go into the city and get an apartment. And then I don't know how you're going to get an apartment without work. Well, they'll re-educate you, right? Make you a military officer or a policeman or maybe a nurse. You can go and you can take part in the whole, operation, right? You can be up there as a supervisor, getting rid of all the sheepies. Well, some areas of the country could regularly experience California-style rolling blackouts. Oh, so they'll have these rolling blackouts because they stopped making oil, right? Well, I don't know what's going on. We're having rolling blackouts. It must be the global warming. No, it's probably because you stopped allowing us to have coal and oil and we can't burn wood or anything anymore. So, yeah, fossil fuels and nuclear power goes by the wayside. Consumers may be prevented from buying new gasoline cars, lawnmowers, or chainsaws. Maybe they already shut down gasoline cars. They don't make them no more. I imagine, we won't be allowed. I was thinking I had about this truck. It's a gasoline, right? It uses gasoline. I wouldn't be surprised if they won't even let me drive it here very soon. So, like I said, I'm getting out of here in spring. I may take the long road to New Mexico. First of all, I'm going to go in March. It's still going to be cold there, in New Mexico, up in the mountains. So I'll probably take a month or two and go to, I wanted to see Virginia before I leave here and look around and do some hiking. And anyway, but that's a whole nother thing. I want to maybe see some things on the way down there. But, because we may never be able to even drive cars. This may be the end of cars. There's a lot of people like, Richie from Boston. I guess he's living in his truck. So lots of people are doing this, and I don't think we're going to have much more opportunity to just get in an old car, go down highway, Route 66, right, and go into the cafe and have a cup of coffee and some breakfast and see the Sedona or the Grand Canyon and just look at the parks and enjoy yourself. That's not going to be something we're going to be allowed to do here pretty soon. California will ban the sale of gasoline cars in 13 years, as will Germany. 13 years? I think it'll happen way before then. This got to run it by us, right? Well, we're going to do this someday, but then it happens like in a few minutes. Britain plans to do the same in just 8 years, prohibiting, I think what they mean is there will be no more gas cars in 10 years. Period. But the way to get from there to here is they're going to be, making us pay taxes on it. Gas prices are going to be going so high you won't be able to drive your car anyway. Prohibiting internal combustion engines could save the planet, is what the argument goes. Anyway, I mean, this is ridiculous. I don't even want to read the rest of this. But what about the farms? So what are we going to eat if they get rid of all the farms? I mean, talking about 13 years in the future, in California and Germany. Are we even going to get to that? I don't think so. I don't think we got more than 5 years. Jesus will be coming back. I know that. I believe that. Absolutely. Could it go a little longer? Maybe. But even by their figures, the world as we know it is over in 10, 13 years. Even by their own figures, guys. Let me show you the story about the farms. All right, here you go. Here's Fox. Some of you trust Fox, don't you? Well, here's what Fox News is saying. The Netherlands reportedly set to forcibly close 3,000 farms to comply with the EU mandate. Some Dutch farmers have said their industry is being unfairly targeted while other sectors like aviation are not. The Dutch government is planning to purchase and then close down up to 3,000 farms in an effort to comply with a European Union environmental mandate to slash emissions, according to the report. Farmers in the Netherlands will be offered well over the worth of their farm in an effort to take up the offer voluntarily. The Telegraph reported, the country is attempting to reduce its nitrogen pollution and will make the purchase if not enough farmers accept buyouts. But here's the problem, guys. When they get rid of the farms because of global warming, well, something worse will happen. We'll starve to death. We won't have food. Why do you think those farms existed? To grow food. Oh my goodness, are we complete imbeciles in this world? Yeah, this is crazy. Well, see, when the oil is shut down, you don't have any more oil. You don't have fertilizer. They make the fertilizer for all these crops from the natural gas and the oil. And you don't have oil, then you don't get 18-wheelers on the road or trains or airplanes or whatever, boats. I don't know what uses, the oil industry is used in all various transportation groups. And without them, we don't get food to the market. Now, if you're living in New York or Tokyo or Mexico City or whatever, you cannot just go and farm. There's most of the world, millions and millions of people living in these big cities. They will completely collapse overnight if they do this. But they're doing it. Anywho, what is this really all about? The farms being shut down and all of this. Well, I will show you a clip of a woman who lives up there who is explaining what they're doing and why. But now you got to think outside the box. I'll get back to you. Just take a look what this lady says, and then we'll expand on that just a little bit.
They are shutting them down. They're saying that the nitrogen is too much in their ground, but it's basically just trying to take the lands from the farmers, trying to confiscate the lands, because they are planning here food hubs. They're called food hubs, and it's from the World Economic Forum, and it's basically all synthetic foods that they want to do without any people, without any farmers, without any workers, just machines.
All right, now, I want you to think about this for a moment. This might be the only place on earth that you're going to hear the truth, because honestly, obviously, you're not going to hear it on CNN. You're not going to hear it on MSNBC or even Fox News. And I don't think you're going to hear it on the radio talk shows. I mean, it's crazy because even Redacted isn't saying it. Now, I don't know if they just don't know this, or, I mean, you know, they're pretty good. I'm not cutting that show down. I like it. But let me run this by you. If they're saying that we got to shut down the farms because there's too much nitrogen, or there's too much smoke from the tractors, or you know, ruining the environment somehow. Now, it may be, right, this kind of farming that they've been doing for years, it may not be good for the environment, that's for sure. Nothing that we're doing is good for the environment. But we've been doing it for quite a few years, and there certainly are other ways to clean up the earth and start having, maybe they could help or invest. If they're spending all this money, they could invest in these farmers and help them to grow organic foods and do things differently. But remember that this is an entire agenda. Agenda 21, or whatever you want to call it. You might be hearing the rain. It's raining pretty good here. But I'll try to talk louder over the rain. But remember the whole thing that we've been talking about. The thingy, right? There are a huge decrease in population. We know that Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, who never lies, of course, who says, yeah, the robots are going to kill us, but he's making robots. That guy is saying that that we got a crisis. There's a population crisis, that there's no more workers. They don't plan on needing any workers. See how that works out? Because it's going to be automized. According to this lady, they're going to have big factories all done by machines, and they're going to make synthetic food. So you say, oh, well, that's all right. Let's, we'll have something to eat. We're not going to starve. They'll have synthetic food for us. We'll go to McDonald's. That's good stuff. Right? They won't hurt us. That'll be fine. We'll just get rid of all this pollution and all these farmers. There's nasty cows pooping and farting and all that. That's bad for the environment. No more cars. But we'll have food. It'll be delivered to your door, and we'll go online, and we'll live a life inside of a computer. Well, if there's not going to be any more people, if all the people are going to be gone, then do you think they're really making synthetic food? Do you think they really want themselves to eat synthetic food? Do you think Billy the gatekeeper is going to be chowing down on some, genetically modified corn meat, fake meat? Really? We know that they're probably not even getting the thing themselves. They don't give it to their children. Remember, they were saying you should all have this kind of education where you go to these public schools, so important, but then they won't send their own kids to public schools. Well, this is how it goes. So I think it's a big fraud when they're telling us that we're going to eat this synthetic food, and people are beginning to think, well, okay, maybe that's what it is. So nobody gets upset and worries about it. And the news and all these, CNN and CBS and all that, they can go out and say, oh yeah, don't worry, we're going to make synthetic food. We don't need farmers. We don't need gas cars. We've got electric cars. Wait a minute. Electric cars got to get plugged in. You need energy. You need an energy grid, but they're going to be rolling blackouts because we ain't got any oil. You see how this works? It's ridiculous. The only reason they're shutting down the farms is the same reason that they had the other pandemic, whatever that, how do we spell that real quick? That thingy I'm not allowed to say, that went on for 2 years. All right, that happened. Why? Because they were worried about us? Because of some terrible dis-ease? And they are just out for our own welfare and they're trying to help us? No, they made billions of dollars off of it. They shut down all the businesses that they had to compete with. So there's only the big monopoly now of the wealthiest people in the world. It's all going to be only for them, nothing for us. So when they shut down these farms, which actually grow food, even if it is genetically modified, it's the food, right? It's actual food that grows from the ground. And they claim they're going to make synthetic food from what? I don't know. What? They make it from black fungus. It'll kill you. That's what they're making the meat from. Some kind of... I think the McDonald's is doing it right now. So it's a big HO, whatever, AX. Because they don't intend to feed 8 billion people synthetic food. Once we're all gone, and only they survive, that's what their plan is, then they won't need to feed us. Now, here's the good news. The Bible tells us 2,000 years in advance that all of this was going to happen. The devil would deceive the whole world. And it says Jesus is coming to destroy those who are ruining the earth. They're the ones ruining the earth. And remember, it says that all the merchants and the rich men and all the kings and the powerful men, the great and the small, the rich and the poor, everybody alike is going to feel this except for one group of people. Those who put their faith and their hope in Jesus. I rest my case. I'm going to go ahead and go, guys. I hope you have a wonderful evening. May the Lord bless you, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.